All right, let's dive into this whole attraction thing.
Yeah.
I bet you've heard all this stuff about men getting hooked, right? And women playing games in the dating world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to take a deep dive into this podcast episode. Um, it's called The Power of Detachment, How to Stop Being Hooked on Women and Take Control.
Okay.
And we're going to see if any of these ideas actually hold water, right?
Interesting.
So it's all about, like, why guys are so attached.
Yeah.
And how women supposedly test them.
Okay.
And, of course, it promises to, reveal the secret to becoming the prize.
Uh-huh.
Which, I got to admit, that kind of piques my interest,
I bet.
Like, who doesn't want to be the prize?
Right.
So the source is saying the guys often mistake sexual attraction
Yeah.
for, like, a real emotional connection.
Interesting.
What do you think about that?
Well,
Is it just guys being clueless, or?
it's probably a lot more complex than just guys being clueless. Like,
Mhm.
you got to think about, societal expectations for men. They're often told to, prioritize physical attraction,
Right?
which can sometimes like overshadow the deeper emotional stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And always also the whole scarcity mindset thing.
Okay.
Like, if someone isn't getting much romantic attention, any little bit can
Yeah.
feel like a huge validation.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That feeling of being chosen,
Exactly.
can be pretty intoxicating, especially in those early stages.
And this source even mentions that sometimes like the little attention from women feels life-changing.
Wow.
I mean, that's a pretty powerful statement, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Speaks volumes about the need for connection, the need for validation.
Yeah.
I mean, we all crave that to some extent.
Absolutely.
It makes you think about like those early stages of attraction
Yeah.
and how intense those feelings can be.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think we're just doomed to misinterpret those feelings
Right.
as like a sign of something deeper?
Yeah, right.
Or is there a way to kind of
Yeah.
be more discerning?
Yeah, how do you...
It's the million-dollar question,
Yeah.
right? How do we tell the difference between, that initial spark
Right.
and something that could actually be meaningful? I
Mhm.
think it comes down to self-awareness.
Okay.
We need to understand our own needs,
Yeah.
our patterns, why we're drawn to certain types of people,
Right.
even if, they might not be good for us in the long run.
It's like you got to do the inner work
Yes,
before you can accurately assess those connections.
totally. It's about knowing yourself,
Okay.
being honest about what you truly want in a relationship.
Yeah, beyond just the initial
Yeah, beyond the surface level.
surface level attraction.
This source suggests these detachment strategies
Okay.
to avoid getting hooked.
Yeah,
Things like separating sex from emotional bonding,
right.
seeing sex as just a part of life, not the be-all and end-all,
Okay.
and cultivating an abundance mindset.
Okay, but what does that even mean? Abundance mindset.
Right.
Is that just like having a ton of options?
Well, I think that's where it gets tricky.
Okay.
Because there's a real danger in thinking it's just about, like, playing the field
Right.
and getting as many numbers as possible.
Yeah.
That can actually lead to feeling more empty,
Yeah, I could see that.
Unsatisfied, true abundance, I think it comes from having a fulfilling life in general.
Okay.
It's about having close friends,
Yeah,
pursuing your passions, feeling like you have a sense of purpose
right.
that goes beyond just romantic relationships.
I love that. It's not about the quantity of your dating life. It's
Right.
about the quality of your life overall.
Exactly. It's about creating a life that you genuinely enjoy.
Yeah.
Regardless of, whether you're in a relationship or not.
Right.
And when you're living that kind of full, vibrant life,
Mhm.
it naturally makes you more attractive to others.
It's not about forcing attraction. It's about
Right.
cultivating a life that draws people in.
Yeah, it's about being authentic.
Okay.
And that kind of authenticity, it's much more sustainable. It's more fulfilling than any of these short-term tactics.
Now, this is where I think things get a little tricky.
Okay.
The source talks about women testing men, right?
Mm-hmm.
With things like asking for gifts early on,
Oh.
suddenly becoming distant,
Yeah.
flirting with other guys right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think these are like deliberate tests, or
I mean-
could there be other explanations for these behaviors?
It's important, I think, to avoid, generalizations about entire groups of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to me, this whole testing label, it's a bit simplistic,
Right.
maybe even a little misogynistic.
So instead of assuming there's some hidden agenda,
Right.
maybe we should be asking ourselves, why might someone act this way?
Exactly. There could be a whole range of reasons, right?
Right.
Maybe they're insecure, maybe they're testing boundaries, or
Right.
maybe they're just not that interested.
Yeah, and it's on us to communicate.
Yeah.
All right. to be open and honest about our own needs
Absolutely.
rather than jumping to conclusions or playing games.
I think if you're constantly feeling tested or like you're walking on eggshells,
Right.
that's a big red flag
Yeah.
that the relationship might not be a good fit.
Okay.
So healthy communication is key.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to decipher these supposed tests,
Yeah.
focus on building trust,
Mm-hmm.
understanding,
Okay.
have open and honest conversations
Right.
about what you both want and need.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this other interesting concept
Yeah.
from the source,
Sure.
this idea of becoming the prize.
We talk about focusing on your purpose.
Okay.
Dating multiple,
Mm-hmm.
setting standards. Yeah. Being willing to walk away. What are your initial thoughts on that?
You know, at first glance, it sounds like pretty empowering advice.
Right.
Know your worth, don't settle.
Yeah.
But I think there's a fine line
Okay.
between healthy self-improvement
Right.
and using these things to, like, manipulate others.
So it's not about checking off boxes on some prize checklist.
Right.
It's about genuine self-growth.
Exactly.
Authenticity.
The real prize
Yeah.
isn't about getting women to chase after you.
Right.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
Okay.
Building a life you're actually proud of.
So how do we reconcile this, like, becoming the prize idea?
Yeah.
Being genuine, you know?
Well, vulnerability and connections.
I think it's about finding that balance
Okay.
between self-improvement and authenticity.
Yeah.
It's about working on yourself,
Mm.
but not to the point where you become like this
Right.
untouchable ideal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about being confident, knowing your worth,
Yeah.
but also being open,
Right.
vulnerable enough to let someone in.
So not putting on a facade, right? It's
Yeah.
about letting your true self shine.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what's really going to attract the right people. And if we tie this back to the abundance mindset,
Yeah.
maybe the issue isn't detachment,
Mm-hmm.
but about living a life that aligns with your values
I think you're right.
and pursuing things that bring you joy.
If your whole life revolves around finding a partner,
Yeah.
you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
But when you have a fulfilling life outside of that,
Yeah.
relationships become a natural extension of that happiness,
Okay.
not the sole source of it.
It's a whole different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
It's not about desperately searching for the one.
It's about creating a life that you love
Mhm.
and letting love find you along the way.
That's powerful.
And when you're living authentically, pursuing your passions,
Right.
you become a magnet for like-minded people.
It's like you're radiating a certain energy
Yeah,
that
exactly.
attracts people on the same wavelength.
And those connections, those genuine connections,
Yeah.
those are worth more than any prize.
This has been so eye-opening.
I know, right?
It's made me rethink this whole dating and relationship thing.
To give a reminder.
Before we move on, though,
Okay.
I want to turn things over to you, the listener.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Have you ever felt that rush of validation
Mm-hmm.
from someone you were attracted to?
Did it cloud your judgment?
Did it maybe lead you to misinterpret things?
Or what about this abundance mindset?
Mhm.
Does it resonate with you?
What does that look like in your life?
We want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, we want to hear your experiences.
Share them with us.
You know, this whole becoming the prize thing.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky, right?
It is.
It's easy to get caught up in all the
The external stuff.
external validation.
Yeah.
Lose sight of what really matters.
I think it's so important to remember that true self-worth,
Mhm.
it comes from within,
Okay.
not from outside sources like
Right.
relationships or, social status or anything like that.
So how do we cultivate that inner worth
Okay.
without falling into like the ego trap
Right.
or trying to manipulate others?
I think it starts with identifying your values
Okay.
and then actually living in alignment with them.
So what are those principles that really guide you?
Yeah, what do you stand for?
What are your non-negotiables?
Once you have a good understanding of that,
Mm-hmm.
you can start making choices that reflect those values.
Right.
Even when it's tough.
So it's not just talking the talk.
No.
It's walking the walk.
Exactly. And that kind of integrity,
Yeah.
it's incredibly attractive.
It shows you're not just trying to impress people.
Yeah, you're not faking it.
Right. You're genuinely committed to,
To living a life that you're proud of.
yeah. It's like that saying, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken.
Haha, right.
There's so much freedom
There is.
in embracing who you are,
Yeah.
even if it's, doesn't fit the mold.
Even if it's quirky or different.
This source, despite some of its
Yeah.
kind of manipulative language,
I know what you mean.
it does touch on some truths about confidence,
Mm-hmm.
about self-respect,
Absolutely.
knowing your worth, not settling,
That's crucial in any relationship.
yeah, romantic or otherwise.
For sure.
And that advice about having standards,
Yeah.
being willing to walk away, that resonates with me.
It's about recognizing that you deserve to be treated well,
Yeah.
and that you have the right to walk away from situations
Huh.
that don't align with your values.
It's about taking ownership of your own happiness.
Not relying on someone else to complete you.
Yeah, I like that.
That's self-reliance. It's really empowering.
Okay.
It allows you to approach relationships from a place of strength.
Instead of neediness.
Right, not from a place of desperation.
So let's say you're in a situation
Yeah,
where someone's acting distant
okay.
or playing games.
How do you approach that from a place of self-respect?
Yeah, with healthy boundaries.
Clear, assertive communication.
Okay.
Express your feelings, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But don't blame or try to control the other person.
So instead of saying, like, why are you being so distant?
Right.
You're making me insecure.
Yeah, avoid that.
Maybe say something like,
Yeah.
hey, I've noticed you've been a bit withdrawn lately.
Mhm.
Is everything all right?
I value our connection, but...
But I also need to feel respected.
Exactly.
It's owning your feelings
Yes.
without putting the responsibility on them to fix it.
And if they keep disregarding your boundaries or
Yeah.
mistreating you,
Yeah.
you have every right to walk away.
Sometimes that's the best thing,
Sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do for yourself.
to remove yourself from a situation.
Yeah, that's not serving you.
This source also talks about having options,
Yeah.
advocates for dating multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what they're really getting at is
Yeah.
expanding your social circle.
Right, building a sense of abundance in your life.
It's not about playing the field to boost your ego.
No, not at all.
It's about connecting to different people,
Yeah.
figuring out what you want in a partner,
Mm-hmm.
and having a life outside of dating.
Exactly.
So your happiness doesn't depend on it.
Your happiness shouldn't hinge on finding the one.
Right.
It's about creating a life you love and
Yeah.
letting love find you naturally.
When you're living authentically,
Mm-hmm.
pursuing your passions,
Yeah.
you become a magnet.
It's true.
It's like you radiate this energy
Mhm.
that attracts people on the same wavelength.
And those connections,
Yeah.
the genuine ones,
Yeah.
those are priceless.
This conversation has really
I know. It's been great.
shifted my perspective.
Me too.
It's not about games or being the prize.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself,
Mhm.
creating a life you love.
And that's what's truly attractive.
Authenticity.
Being comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah. Living a life true to yourself.
You just exude this confidence, this magnetism that people are drawn to.
But the question is,
Yeah.
how do you actually do that?
Right. How do you build a life you're passionate about?
It's a journey. It's
Yeah.
different for everyone.
Okay, yeah.
But it starts with asking yourself
Yeah.
some tough questions.
Okay, like what?
What brings you joy?
Mm-hmm.
What are your values?
Yeah.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave?
And then taking action.
Yes, even small steps.
Try new things.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Embrace failure as a learning experience.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right. Surround yourself with supportive people.
People who believe in you.
Yeah.
Because building a fulfilling life,
Yeah.
it takes time and effort.
And a lot of
It's
self-compassion.
not a destination.
It's a journey.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Embrace the ups and downs.
Mhm.
Trust that the right people will come along.
When you're living authentically,
Yeah.
you attract like-minded souls.
It's true.
Those connections, they're worth more than any prize.
They really are.
That's the beauty of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about winning or losing.
It's about connection.
Yeah. Finding people who complement your journey.
Who make the ride a little sweeter.
And sometimes it's
Yeah.
about finding yourself first.
Because when you know who you are,
Yeah.
what you stand for,
Yeah.
you attract people who appreciate that.
It's funny, right? This whole becoming the prize idea.
Yeah,
It's not just about dating.
you're so right. It's like it goes way beyond that.
It really does, right?
It applies to like everything.
Yeah.
Your career, your friendships,
Mhm.
even your relationship with yourself. It's like that whole self-improvement thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leveling up your whole life.
Right. Investing in yourself.
Setting those boundaries.
It all goes back to knowing your worth.
And refusing to settle for less.
Yeah.
Whether it's a job, a friendship,
Hmm.
or even just how you treat yourself.
So how do we,
Yeah.
how do our listeners, I guess, how can they apply this to their own lives?
Well, first
Yeah.
is you got to figure out those non-negotiables.
What are your core values?
Exactly. What are you absolutely not willing to budge on?
Like drawing a line in the sand.
Yeah, this is me. This is what I stand for.
I love that.
And once you've got that down, you can start setting boundaries
Okay.
that protect your time, your energy,
Mhm.
your emotional well-being.
Being intentional with who you let in
Absolutely.
and how you spend your time.
And what about your passions?
Right. Right.
What lights you up?
Yeah. What makes you,
What skills do you want to develop?
that's what makes you unique.
Attractive.
It's like your inner prize shining through.
Yeah, embrace what makes you feel alive.
And it's okay to say no
Right.
to things that don't align with that.
Saying no to the things that draw you
Mm-hmm.
makes space for the things that truly matter.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to, like,
Fall into the trap of people-pleasing.
yeah, people-pleasing, feeling like you have to say yes.
To everything and everyone.
But when you focus on your well-being, your own growth.
You become more authentic.
Yeah.
More magnetic.
And that shines through
It really does.
in everything you do.
Speaking of authenticity,
Yeah.
surround yourself with people who get you.
Right.
Who support you, who inspire you.
The people who make you feel like you can do anything.
Yeah, those are the ones you want in your corner.
Those are your people.
They'll celebrate your wins, help you up when you fall,
Yeah.
and push you to be your best.
That's the kind of community we all need.
Absolutely.
So to wrap things up.
Yeah, let's bring it back to this price idea. Okay, it's not about what you achieve or external validation. It's about building a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling.
On your own terms.
Exactly.
It's that deep satisfaction of knowing you're living in alignment.
With your values, your passions.
And the amazing thing is,
What's that?
when you focus on that kind of life,
Yeah.
you attract the right people.
It's like the universe conspires to help you.
I love that. It's like magic.
So for everyone listening, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
If you had a magic wand and you could create your ideal life,
wow. Okay.
what would it look like?
What would you be doing?
Who would be there with you?
And how would you feel?
Really envision it.
Yeah.
Feel those emotions.
Feel it.
And then ask yourself,
Yeah.
what's one small step you can take today to get closer to that vision?
Because even a tiny action can make a difference.
It's like that butterfly effect, right?
One flap of your wings
can create a hurricane somewhere else.
That's powerful.
Don't underestimate your power to create the life you want.
And remember, you're worthy of love.
Happiness.
The life that lights you up.
Go out there and create it.
That's it for this deep dive.
We hope you enjoyed it.
We hope it gave you some new insights.
And inspired you to embrace your journey.
It's all about progress, not perfection.
Keep exploring, keep growing.
And keep being the amazing, authentic you.
Until next time, keep diving deep.